Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Is Kaye Scott the female Lomachenko? Lomachenko had over 400 amateur fights, one loss. Kaye Scott had over 120 amateur fights. When Lomachenko turned pro, Lomachenko was fast-tracked to a world title. Kaye Scott turned pro, was fast-tracked to a world title. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that. But for anybody saying that, it is what it is. But we'll talk about that later. Right now, let's understand Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn. Look, the weight cut story is this. Conor Benn shouldn't be coming down to 147. I'm going to keep saying it. It's just simply too demanding for a guy like Benn. Him coming down to 147 thinking he's going to make history from fighting the two fights at 160 against Chris Eubank Jr., now coming down to 147 and picking up the WBC strap off of Ryan Garcia. I just don't think he's going to lift any title off of Ryan Garcia. And that's why the argument from Ryan Garcia's supporters is straightforward. Benn has to get down in weight. Ryan Garcia just has to fight. And that is the difference. Benn, I'm not going to say he's in a fat boy camp, but he's in a camp to cut weight. Ryan's in a camp to be sharp, work on the game plan, and get inside the ring and tranquilize Conor Benn. So anyone who's saying Conor Benn is going to tranquilize Ryan, I know Bo Mack, Terrence Crawford, they're rooting for Benn. But to that I say, in the most respectful way, Conor Benn getting down to 147 and clipping Ryan Garcia. Hey, yo, hold your horses. Let's stop taking it to the stupid. If Benn is severely depleted by the weight cut, the concern isn't simply losing weight, man. It's whether he arrives with enough strength, stamina, punch resistance, and explosiveness to deal with Ryan. Same thing we've been saying about Claressa Shields cutting weight to get down here and deal with Kaye Scott. The difference is I know Conor Benn will make 147. He'll make the contracted weight. Claressa Shields, I don't know. She ain't looking like she's anywhere close to 160, and she fights in 2 days. But there's another side to the whole Conor Benn, Ryan Garcia thing. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Garcia cannot afford to treat Benn like a foregone conclusion. You know, Conor Benn is very explosive. He knows what's on the line. He's fighting for his last name. He's fighting for legacy. So I think Ryan's biggest advantage is going to be his athleticism. That speed, the left hook, and he's incorporated the right hand. But he can't afford to underestimate Conor Benn, even though I think the first 30 seconds of the fight, Ryan knocks him out and Ryan wins. But at the same time, Benn is dangerous. He's dangerous enough to punish complacency if Ryan comes in there playing around, but I don't think Ryan is. Ryan doesn't like Benn. Benn tries to come off like a bully and shit, and Ryan doesn't like the fact that Benn was talking Spanish and Ryan can't speak Spanish, and Conor Benn is fluent in Spanish. That's a real sensitive area for Ryan Garcia. But the bottom line, that's the major point. Ryan Garcia isn't simply a social media celebrity who happens to box and just can't speak Spanish. Ryan Garcia is a legitimate pro fighter with elite level physical tools and skills. Ryan Garcia will whip your ass. I think if Ryan establishes his range, forces Benn to repeatedly reset, this could become a very difficult night for Conor. However, I think within the first 30 seconds, Ryan knocks him out. I think the first shot he throws, because Benn's going to come in all crazy. Ryan with that speed and timing, and Benn's out. I think first 30 seconds, fight ends. Now, if it doesn't, like Ryan's predicting within 5, I say within 3. I just don't see Conor Benn winning. I just don't. Now, on to other news. Floyd Schofield and Bahdi. Finally, Floyd Schofield returning to the ring. He and Bahdi are going to be fighting for the vacant WBA lightweight championship. And that's good news. Because Schofield, man, that dude is talented. Very talented. But hey, this is the exact type of fight that can change a young fighter's career. You know what I mean? For Schofield, he could turn potential into championship. You know what I'm saying? I like Floyd Schofield. I think he's a great fighter, man. And I like the fact that it's like whatever the money is, they don't care. They're going to take it. Now, for Bahdi, it's an opportunity to prove that his power and aggressive style belong at the highest level. But I just have a tough time going against Floyd Schofield, man. He can fight. He's a talented fighter. But at the end of the day, ain't going to be no excuses from Schofield, no excuses from Bahdi, no room for a bad night. We don't want to hear that shit. There's a world title here, If that's not your motivation, get the hell up out of boxing. Now, I'm gonna mention this. I'm not gonna stay on it too long because it makes me sad. You know what I'm saying? Prichard Colón has passed away. You know what I mean? Now, this is the individual that Deontay Wilder was talking about, and Deontay Wilder got emotional. His post fight, I think, after he fought, what's his name, Hellenius. But if you don't know what happened to Prichard Colón, just go and do your research there on YouTube. Look at him, handsome dude, man, talented fighter, man, good looking guy. But he ended up getting hit repeatedly behind the head, man. And I watched that fight, and I ain't gonna say nothing. He's passed away. I'll leave it alone. But when I was watching that fight, I didn't watch it when it first happened. I ended up watching it some years later, right? After I learned about his story. And I'm watching that shit, and I'm looking at the guy he's fighting, and I'm looking at the referee. And that referee is the same referee who refereed Lamont Peterson, Amir Khan. And he was doing some shady shit in the Lamont Peterson, Amir Khan fight, taking points from Amir Khan, just treated Amir Khan really foul, and he helped Lamont Peterson get a title. That was corruption at its finest, right in your face. But when I saw it was the referee in this fight and how he was letting the other opponent, letting the Prichard Colón's opponent repeatedly hit him in the back of the head, but how he was chastising Prichard Colón for no reason, I knew that something was wrong in that fight. But I'm not going to get into that. But to Prichard Colón, let me tell you that, like, I don't know him, man, but I ain't gonna lie. That shit makes me sad, you know what I'm saying? Young man, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's mourning his loss because his career was tragically altered, man, after that 2015 bout with Terrell Williams, where that referee, man, was letting this guy, and Terrell Williams, he's a pig too, letting him be hit. I mean, he knew what he was doing. It's really fucked up. That's why I like talking about it, because I like, this is me talking. I get upset. Because to see this man suffer a brain hemorrhage, man, spent months in a coma, then he had to endure profound long-term consequences. His family had to take care of him, man, for all those years. His story is one of the most painful reminders that boxing isn't entertainment without consequences, and that this shit about by any means necessary. I mean, I get it, but it's not right. You know what I mean? Every knockout has a human being attached to it. Every punch has a human being attached to it. And when you're out here, man, these guys are already risking their health getting in the ring. These fighters who are fighting dirty and hitting behind the head and all that. Well, I tell you what, Prichard Colón's story should forever be a part of boxing conversations about fighter safety. And these referees need to probably be reminded of what happened to this young man because of that stupid ass referee, and look at what happened to his family. And I wonder, this guy, Terrell Williams, he didn't do very well after that anyway. He ended up getting his ass clipped. But I wonder how he's feeling today. He got to live with himself the rest of his life because he knows he fought dirty. He knows he was doing wrong shit to him. He knows what he did. So I'm sure it's going to eat him alive. I'm sure. Almost reminds me of the Louis Resto, Billy Collins story, where Resto came in there with his hands, you know what I mean, with the padding out the gloves. Beat Billy Collins, you know what I mean, round after round, pummeled the dude, messed up his vision and everything. Collins ended up committing suicide. Resto was banned from boxing. Resto was never able to recover from that shit. Messed him up bad. You know what I mean? He couldn't live with himself. Anyway, enough about that. Teremoana, but rest in peace to Prichard Colón. That shit really bothers me, you know, like it really bothers me. But anyway, got another Australian in the house, Teremoana. Hey, let me tell you, Teremoana, time to step up, champ. 12 wins, 12 knockouts. The type of record that makes fans start asking the same questions, you know. Who's next? Teremoana, second round stoppage of DeAndre Savage. All that's done is told us, like, look, man, it's time for him to get in there, step up in opposition. We know he can fight. We know he's powerful. But they got some other undefeated prospects out there. I'd like to see him fight Jalilov, but Jalilov I think that's a good fight. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about him fighting Moses Atama, but they're taking Atama a different direction. But stop collecting victories. Start collecting names. That's what Teremoana needs to do. We know you got what it takes, but start getting some names on your resume, man. And I want to see if Teremoana's power if that works against somebody who can actually push him back and land power on him. You know what I'm saying? A name that comes to mind is someone who's coming back is Martin Bakole. You know, he's back. I think it sounds like he's worked through his promotional challenges and he's training. Promotional issues seem to be resolved. Who is going to fight him? I don't know. Who wants to fight him? Probably nobody. But he's one of those heavyweights that he can ruin your plans with one performance. You can't sleep on Martin Bakole. So the plan is for him to return by the end of the year. But I tell you what, man, I'm looking at them heavyweight rankings. I'm wondering who's going to want to take the risk to get in there with Bakole, because Bakole is a beast. Now, speaking of beasts, but an inactive beast, Artur Beterbiev. Where the hell is he at? This man's been inactive for 536 days. What the hell's going on with Beterbiev, man? You got to ask some serious questions about whether he even wants to fight anymore. You know what I'm saying? His whole identity has been based around physical dominance, prolonged inactivity, creates uncertainty. That's why we like wondering what the hell's going on with my boy Beterbiev, man. You know, I'll say this. Maybe he needs more recovery. There's been a lot of talk about him, his body, injuries and stuff like that. You know, maybe there were some negotiation breakdowns. I don't know why the comeback being delayed, but I'll tell you what, he's still one of the most feared fighters of his generation, man. And sitting on the sidelines indefinitely is all bad. And there was a lot of rumors about him and Bivol fighting. He sounds like he still wants to fight Bivol. I don't know what the holdup is. But anyway, when y'all find out where the hell he is and what's going on, let me know. Amanda Serrano's still chasing history, man. She's preparing for her return as she looks to add another historic accomplishment to her resume, looking to break Christy Martin's record as the most female knockouts in boxing history. But I'm telling you this, man. Amanda Serrano is someone that female fighters should look to emulate, try to benchmark some of the things she did, and understand what made her great. She didn't duck anybody. She was out here fighting when she was barely making enough money to go buy a cheeseburger. You know what I mean? Amanda Serrano is the real deal. That's why I like her nickname. But I'll just say this, every additional record she breaks strengthens her argument as one of the greatest female fighters in boxing history. And, you know, some would say she's the face of women's boxing. It's all opinion. But what's not opinion is that Amanda Serrano is the real deal. And she's a fantastic fighter. And she is definitely one of the best to ever put on gloves. You know what I'm saying? Now, talk about people putting on gloves and people turning up. Elif Turhan puts on gloves and turns up. MVP has been turning up with these signings. So they just signed Elif Turhan, you know what I'm saying? And she's an undefeated IBF lightweight champion. She's on the stable now. 14 wins, 0 losses, 8 knockouts. She can scrap. She's got power. So the obvious question, if you follow women's boxing, is Caroline Dubois and Elif Turhan. That's the kind of fight that should be demanding. That's the kind of fight that we want to see. Now, Dubois should run to the smoke. We know Dubois wants Alicia Baumgartner. Nah, fight Turhan. You beat Turhan, I bet you 100% Alicia won't fight Caroline. Turhan can fight. So can Caroline. So this is where you talk about 2 championship level fighters. You know what I'm saying? That bring the smoke, boy. Talented women, man. And this is the kind of fight fans should be demanding. But I tell you what, I don't know what MVP is going to do. They may try to just take those women and have them just keep fighting and not necessarily against each other yet. But if they have all those women over on that stable, I can't see them not having them, you know, fight each other. I don't know if it's going to be sooner or later, but at some point in time, they're going to fight each other. But bottom line is we get potentially another major matchup for women's boxing down in the lightweight division, which is outstanding. Now, a sleeper fight, I'm going to tell you right now. Magsayo and Cortes. Y'all don't know who Magsayo is? That dude is from the Philippines, and he is an absolute monster. They're opening, they're going to be opening for the main card of Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn. And I'm just telling you, some people want to ignore the opening fights, saying, oh, the audience is just waiting for the main event. They ain't really there to see the opening fights. I'm going to tell you right now, them guys are going to go to war. That fight may steal the show. The opening fight may steal the show. I'm being real with you. And it's worth watching. So anyone who is planning on watching Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn and you just want to see maybe the co-main of Jayapataya and McKellian and then watch Ryan and Conor? Nah. You need to watch the opening fight, Magsayo and Cortes. Don't sleep on that shit. Now, someone out here who I kind of feel bad for, but it is what it is. Edwin De Los Santos. His appeal got rejected, man. His whole appeal situation failed because he got knocked out by Jose Valenzuela. And he did get hit and hurt, and he went down, and then Valenzuela did catch him with a shot while he was down. But I don't know. I don't know. Should it have gotten overturned? I don't know. The bottom line is he was in a kind of condition if he got up, Valenzuela would have hurt him badly. So maybe that's what they looked at. That's what kind of weighed into the decision. I don't know. But the bottom line, once a result becomes official, changing it afterward is very, very difficult. And it is what it is. Now, Kaye Scott, I'm the female Lomachenko. Man, this is the fight everybody's talking about. Kaye Scott, Claressa Shields. Kaye Scott's reminding fans she's not simply a 5-1 underdog. She's walking into a huge opportunity, and she knows this. She's looking at her extensive amateur experience, the rapid development as reasons people shouldn't underestimate her. Plus, she's from Australia, and she's saying put some respect on the Aussie name. And let me tell you something. When you get someone like Kaye Scott who's looking at Claressa and understands what Claressa brings to the table and has sparred Claressa already, Kaye Scott more comfortable about this fight than us because she knows what Claressa can do and she has an idea what she can do. And more importantly, Kaye Scott knows what she can do and what things she needs to work on in order to be in there and compete with Claressa. When she fought Claressa, she was landing on her. So it wasn't a one-sided beatdown. You know what I'm saying? But again, it comes back to the psychology. Winning a fight is more mental than physical. And Kaye Scott is where she needs to be mentally. With Claressa, we already know what she can do. But we don't know where she's at. I'm not saying she's worried about Kaye Scott, but that's the problem. She out here thinking they got her really thinking she's some goddamn celebrity. They got her thinking that she's the face of boxing. Claressa is not. She is not. She underestimating Kaye Scott. I'm going to hurt her, break her jaw, break this, break that. All this nonsense she talking. Is it entertaining? Yes. Will we watch it? Yes. Do we like to hear some of the clips from Claressa? No, but yes. You watch it, but you hate it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you this. Scott doesn't need to convince the world that she's better than Claressa before the fight. She only needs to convince herself that she belongs, and she's done that. You know what I'm saying? She's in shape. She's trained on her timing, on her patience, on being composed, on that jab. She's in great condition. So if Claressa wants to up it, Kaye Scott can up it more. So the bottom line is this may boil down after the first 3 rounds to a battle of endurance. And Claressa, I'm telling you, psychologically, Claressa's going to probably check out. If she's in there and she's landing some good shit on Kaye Scott and Kaye Scott fires back. Now we're in round 3. And if Claressa, again, I don't know if she's going to make 160, but if she does get down there and that weight cut was brutal, she starts to get tired, all of a sudden Kaye Scott is in the fight, Claressa Shields will have a mental breakdown. Because she's supposed to blast Kaye Scott out of there. It's supposed to be her, I'm almost saying like coming out party, which she's been fighting for a while, about damn near 11 years or something. This is gonna be what, 19th fight or something like that. So the bottom line, this is still like a coming out party for Claressa to brag about cutting off. Or you watch if she beats her. She ain't gonna say she cut 20 pounds or 30 pounds like what she's been saying. She gonna be saying what she really cut. Y'all don't know. I had to cut 50 plus pounds. You watch. She may say 100 pounds. You watch how she exaggerates how much weight she cut. And they talk about I had to knock her out and I had to this and that. And, she gonna be out here tooting her horn and going crazy. But that's why they picked Kaye Scott. It was a cherry pick. But that cherry pick could go wrong, you know what I'm saying? Because the underdog has one enormous advantage that Claressa doesn't have. Nobody expects Kaye Scott to win. If Scott survives the early rounds, her confidence is going to grow. If she starts landing cleanly, the favorite starts thinking psychologically that she gets messed up. That's Claressa. And once the favorite starts thinking and losing and thinking like, holy shit, this fight's harder than what I thought, the entire fight can change. And that's what I think is going to happen here with Claressa and Kaye Scott, if Kaye Scott is able to hang with Claressa. It reminds me of Frank Martin when he fought the guy who fought Keyshawn Davis. Nahir Albright. Frank Martin was feeling himself. Then all of a sudden, Nahir made the fight hard. And you could just see the confidence leaving Frank Martin. And Nahir was picking up the pace and landing some shit. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened here, but you got to favor Claressa. Even Kaye Scott knows that. You know, she knows people, they feel she doesn't belong in there at all. Then the fact that she had the emergency CAT scan and on her skull and brain a couple of years ago. No, look, even me, I stir the pot, I play devil's advocate. But even I'm like, Claressa's supposed to just brush this woman. But I also understand that weight cut. That's why I keep talking about it. So anyway, the entire fight can change if Kaye Scott can hang in there. And then by hanging with Claressa Shields, that gets to Claressa Shields' mind. And all of a sudden, the fight changes. But we won't know, but we'll find out in 2 days. Now, speaking of Claressa Shields, big whoop, big whoop, big whoop. Man, please. Always in the middle of some shit. Well, she out here still generating headlines talking shit about potential opponents and legends. And this thing about her and Rolly, she keeps talking about Rolly. Better be glad I got a vagina. Man, Rolly would kill her, even if she was a male boxer. You know what I'm saying? She out here still talking like she could beat Rolly. This shit is old. Talk about she can beat Thurman. Talk about she could beat Triple G. I'm like, what? Talk about she could have beat Sean Porter. Let me tell you, man, they need to put a muzzle on goddamn Claressa Shields. You know what I'm saying? But what I'll tell you is them controversial claims involving the idea she can beat Rolly, that's the kind of statement guaranteed to generate engagement, which is what she's all about, going viral, because it crosses divisions and creates a completely different debate. You know what I mean? So she knows what to say, how to behave in order to go viral, to keep the attention on her. But that attention doesn't necessarily equate to money, to currency. You know what I mean? At all. And people don't like her. So again, they can have these dog and pony shows with Claressa. I'm just not seeing the money there. I'm not seeing it. And if so, somebody need to come out and prove it. I'm just not seeing it. You know what I'm saying? Now, one thing I'm going to tell you when it comes to LAILA Ali, some people don't know this, but I'll just tell you this right here. Let me tell you right here. It's watch this. Let me tell y'all something. There's an article floating around. I'm reading it right now. LAILA Ali snubs ringside invite to Claressa Shields Atlanta fight. LAILA Ali will not be ringside in the Claressa Shields fight in Atlanta on August 15th, even though 2 prime seats are waiting for her. Shields promoter Demetrius Salita told USA Today Sports he made room for the retired champion at State Farm Arena. I'm holding 2 ringside seats for her, Salita said. Ali's business partner Amber Noble responded, no, she absolutely won't be attending, Noble told the outlet. Now, let me tell you this. This is all bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Ali, it says, I think it's a bigger fight than State Farm Arena. With all due respect, Salita added it would be bigger than Mayweather versus McGregor. So what they're doing is they're still mentioning LAILA Ali's name. Still mentioning LAILA Ali's name. Now, I'm going to tell you this. There's no truth to LAILA Ali snubbing anything at all. You know what I'm saying? That's all bullshit. And what they're doing is they're saying whatever they have to say just so Claressa can go viral. You know what I'm saying? That's all. They did reach out to LAILA, and she just said there's no way that she was going to... she said she wasn't invited, and if she was, there was no way that she would go. So LAILA was never invited, and if she was, there's no way she would ever go, okay? But it's ridiculous at this point that if Claressa's such this big dog, big name, we don't need LAILA Ali. Why y'all still mentioning this woman's name? Trying to play the fans like, oh, Mayweather's gonna be there, LAILA's gonna be there. Man, come on now. Everybody know Layla Ali ain't going there to support her. Are you crazy? Or to go there to try to see what she's doing to make her fight? Layla is not coming back to boxing. They keep doing this bullshit, man. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, man. So if Shields is saying Ali was invited to the Kaye Scott event and declined, I'm telling you, that's what they're saying. It's not true. It is not true. And I verified it. I spoke to Layla Ali. Okay? I reached out like, yo, she's like, she broke it down. It's all bullshit, man. So when you're talking about these public figures, man, I'm sure Layla Ali gets tired of her name being mentioned, man. You know what I'm saying? But she also understands every controversial statement becomes another storyline, competing with the actual fight. And that's all these Claressa Shields team is doing. They're just pushing out false narrative, bullshit storylines, anything to create a buzz because she's fighting this weekend. But you know what? She's a content creator. That's what Claressa Shields is, just like me. But she makes shit up. They're going all out on her side to try to get as many people to buy tickets to show up to the event. They're lying their ass off on a lot of things. But I'll tell you what, that's the danger. You know what I'm saying? When you have these controversial storylines taking place. You see, Kaye Scott wants everybody talking about the fight. And Claressa Shields is giving everybody plenty to talk about. But I'm just telling you, you get all those people in there, no matter how they got the tickets or they were given away, they bought the tickets, they're there to see Claressa, they're there to see Zeus, whatever they're there to see. Hopefully Claressa understands what she got herself into because she cannot afford, one, she can't afford to lose. Two, she definitely can't afford to lose by knockout. Three, she can't afford for this to go to a decision and Claressa win by decision. She's got to knock Kaye Scott out. Anything other than knocking Kaye Scott out, Claressa is going to look like a clown. She might as well join the effing circus. Because she's supposed to go in there and tranquilize Kaye Scott. And that's just being real. But I have a feeling if we get past the third round, it ain't going to go like that. And Claressa's going to look crazy that she went to a decision with somebody who people are going to say is a grandma, is an OnlyFans model, who's damaged goods, that had an emergency CT scan on her skull and brain, and someone who turned pro late, and someone who only had 7 fights, 5 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, no knockouts. They're going to say, you trying to tell us that this is the big GOAT, the greatest woman of all time? This is the person who wants to be the face of women's boxing, and she can't handle Kaye Scott? But I'll say maybe Kaye Scott's the female Loma. You know what I'm saying? We're going to find out Saturday. Keep cool, I'm in the breeze.